What's happening, everyone? Nicky Hawkins here, West Ham Fan TV, back once again with another video. Now, it's been a while since I've actually been here, sat in front of a camera, and just spoke about just things that are going on. We normally sort of save these things for longer sort of form podcasts, but I'm thinking about getting back into these shorter form conversations because there is some shit going on at West Ham at the minute that is creating so much debate around the club. And look, I'm just here to sort of nullify and sort of make my opinion heard, which I think you should all do. I think you should all make your opinion heard. I think opinion is fantastic. Now, you would have seen earlier on in the week I was on Talksport Breakfast talking about David Moyes. Now, one thing I would say is, like, a couple of people have sort of um, questioned my arguments and said there was a bit lukewarm. I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to give you a bit of context of what happened with that Talksport interview. They contacted me the night before to go on, and they told me that I was going to be talking about Calvin Phillips. That was it. They didn't say there was any argument about David Moyes, about the in and out debate. So that caught me a bit off guard on air. But I still think I made a pretty decent sort of argument for myself. Although, yes, it probably could have been put a little bit better if I'd have had a bit more time to prepare my answers, for the questions that are coming. But listen, that's what Talksport do. Look, Talksport is a platform that you can't take too seriously. To be honest with you, it's a debate platform. They want engagement. They want impressions. They want people responding and engaging with the content, and they will put barriers in the way, and quite rightly so. I don't think any opinion should be uncontested. I think it is unhealthy to uncontest or not take matters of opinion or question matters of opinion. I don't think that's something that you know is healthy for anybody to have an opinion that's unopposed. Is is not engaging. It's not worth thinking about. So look, I'm just when you're engaging with opinion, just take it as a pinch of salt. Don't get. I see Jeff Stelling. Jeff Stelling's a nice guy. I really like Jeff Stelling. Yes, he brought me up on a few points, but at the end of the day, that's his job. His job is to sort of make content and question opinion, and get the conversation. Don't personally abuse the guy. He doesn't. He doesn't deserve. Nobody deserves to be personally abused for questioning someone's opinion. Whether you share that opinion or don't share that opinion, there's no need to get nasty and personal about it, and that goes with anyone. Don't get nasty and personal with me about my opinion. I don't get nasty and personal with you about your opinion. And, there is room for debate in all opinions, and, if you're a stand up person, um, and a truthful guy, truthful to yourself, there is always you should be able to see arguments. If someone makes an argument and opposes your opinion and it makes you think a little bit differently about it, you should be able to admit, you know, when there's a possible argument against your opinion. That is what it's about. Do not get personal with people. That's what I would say at first. Listen, not all Talksport presenters are the same, and some people are going to be very shocked about the name I'm going to mention now, because I see a friend of mine, Rory Jennings, opposing the normal mainstream media. What do you call it? Opinion, narrative. That's the word. That David Moyes needs to stay. I mean, Rory's a guy that comes in and out with all sorts of wild opinions, but there is opinions. You don't have to agree with them all, but he turn around and say, well, yeah, this is why they should, and this is why I've got the problem with the narrative that they've got, and listen, if you're Moyes in, that is fine. That is fine. Voice your opinion, but voice it respectfully, voice it constructively, and voice it in a way that it doesn't look like you're just being bitter and opposing other people's opinions for the sake of it, because it doesn't match your own. If it doesn't match your own, tell us why that we're wrong. That's what you need to do. But the narrative of the mainstream media is, and you heard it in this Talksport interview, is, what do you want? You're a West Ham fan. What do you want? What do you expect? David Moyes has done a stellar job. He's sixth and seventh. He's won your trophy. You're a West Ham fan. What more do you want? Well, I think I want what anybody should want, and that's to sustain your success and to see a clear path and direction and thought process behind how you're going to maintain those the high bar that you set. You know, David Moyes. Listen, and I've said this all along. David Moyes deserves so much respect for what he's done at West Ham. He came in under the Pellegrini days of someone that really lost their way, and were really letting their standards slip. And he came in, took that squad, didn't make it pretty, but he galvanised it. He he got us solid again, and he did instill some sort of direction within the club. Not so much the team, but within the club. He gave us a stable base. He got us playing some relatively attractive football with the players that we had. He had us scoring goals. He made a couple of shrewd signings, Jesse Lingard, that got us up to sixth, and then we maintained that by finishing seventh the next year. Then the standards start to slip, and what you want to construct it, and when you break it down, let's take Arsenal for an example. Arsenal were in a place where post Wenger, they were a bit directionless. They was a bit unstable. They had that sort of 10-year period where we had to pay off the stadium, where they had to pay off the stadium, and they suffered through that period a little bit. Wenger was keeping them stable, but the Arsenal fans turned around and said, "Look, this is not good enough. We want more. This is what we want." And we all, I suppose, laughed a little bit at Arsenal. We were a bit confused by Arsenal at times, but ultimately they brought in a manager who came in, won them a trophy, finish eighth, fifth, and last season second. This is fifth season. This is four seasons under Mikel Arteta. You cannot look for as much as the banter that's gone on, but you can see Arsenal are in a good place at the moment. You can see that they've got some good players. They've got some a good way of playing football. Mikel Arteta's got that squad. He's formed it. He hasn't, rested on his laurels with what he's had. He's always improved this. He tried to improve the squad. He improved the players that were within the squad. So he took someone like Gabriel, for instance. I can't remember if he signed him or not, but now he's playing at a top level. He had someone like Granit Xhaka, who was fine as a Premier League midfielder. He wanted to improve on that. He went and signed Declan Rice for a lot of money. He had Gabriel Jesus in there, who last season played really well. Was doing good things. He thought, no, I need they need more in there, to challenge. And to share out the responsibility of playing that centre. He went inside Kai Havertz last season. He went inside Trossard. He's constantly adding to the squad, and he's constantly trying to form and mold that squad into what he wants, what he will. In his vision, they are the players that he needs to actually progress the squad and keep on challenging and keep on pushing the squad forward. Fast forward 4 years with David Moyes, we're at the same time. Yes, we won a trophy last season, but let's not kid ourselves. We was the favourites to win that trophy. In terms of I think someone said to me that I haven't checked it, but all the teams that we played up to the final, our squad was worth more than those collectively. So you'd expect the quality to be there. We didn't find it easy at times. I think we struggled in games. Alkmaar, we struggled a bit. In the final, we certainly did struggle, and it was a 50-50 game. But all in all, it was a pretty comfortable win prior to that. Listen, the Europa League the year before was a much more impressive performance. But what have we got after 4 years? After 4 years, you want to see somewhere a sort of situation and a squad that is forming into what David Moyes wants. And unfortunately, right, for David Moyes, he has formed a squad into what he wants. And what does he want his squad to be? Passive, concede possession, not play football, try and defend, try and crowd out the ball, not pass the halfway line, rely on individual bits of quality rather than good coaching or good tactics or exciting forward flowing, free flowing football. That is what he wants West Ham United to be. And in this day and age, that sort of tactic gets found out very, very easily. This is 4 years. This is 4 years of progress under David Moyes. And can you honestly say, and I mean this with the greatest of respects, the way we're playing at the moment is much progress in terms of the playing style or the way we approach games from when he first came in, when he took over Pellegrini's squad that was full of players that he would not have chosen, and he shipped out pretty quickly to Felipe Andersons, Sebastian Haller's, players of that ilk. Can you honestly say that there is a vast improvement in the way we approach games and the way the games are executed? They're not. Jared Bowen is a very good player. Jared Bowen was a Moyes signing. Jared Bowen is having a good season. Last season weren't so good. Yeah. Do you think Jared Bowen is going to be enjoying playing that way 4 years later? Look, he signed a new contract, but at the end of the day, contracts are not worth the paper they're printed on. At the end, at the end of it, and if he wants to leave, and he makes his, if it makes it quite known that he wants to leave, he will leave. Simple as that. The same as Declan. They will cash on in him because you don't want a player around that's going to let his contract run down, and you're going to want to maximize the amount of money you get for him. Lucas Paquetá was already on the way out the door, and they say about Lucas Paquetá, how can you judge him? He's lost Lucas Paquetá. Listen, we could have had this whole season without Lucas Paquetá. The whole season. With that, no joke. No joke. We could have been the whole season without Lucas Paquetá. Where would we have been without him? And it was only the controversy that he caught himself up in, that actually saved us from. Look, we signed Mohamed Kudus. He's brilliant, but these players are not going to want to be playing football like this. This is not what these players are signing up for. There has to be a clear plan in place. And unfortunately, when you're approaching games against Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, Everton at home, the same way that you're approaching the games away to Manchester City and Arsenal, there is no progress there. There is nothing to be optimistic about in the future. He spent a lot of money. I keep on hearing him say, I've won the most games. I've won the most games. I've won the most games. Yes, David, you have won the most games, but you also spent the most money. You also find yourself in a different situation than, let's say, what Harry Redknapp found himself in, where we was developing young players and having to sell them to prop the club up. You find yourself, in charge of a club that told us, 7, 8, 9 years ago when they wanted to make this move to the London Stadium, that this was going to be the move that moves the club on in that direction. The board are not blameless in this either. They're cowardly, the board, because they don't want to take this step either. They are scared for their lives that if they make another appointment, the one like Pellegrini, they will go down and they'll have to go back between the tail between their legs. But now you have to be bold in these situations. You have to take these advantages of these moments that you're in. We have had some good moments, yes, but you cannot stand still. You cannot let that squad rot. You cannot let that rot set in terms of the playing style, and you cannot, continue to use so less players that they get burned out by the time February comes, and then you haven't got anyone to turn to because you've treated someone like absolute shit. Everyone else like absolute shit. He stripped the squad bare. We've got one of the oldest and smallest squads in the Premier League. This does not bode well for the future. We are very lucky that the, the beginning of the season and come up with some decent results. And we got some good points on the board with the likes of Lucas Paquetá playing, because their individual brilliance is the thing that is saving his job. Because if it come down to it and he had to manage a team where, he didn't have that, world class magic, let's be honest, Lucas Paquetá is world class, he'd be in trouble, big trouble, because it shows the way he manages people like Said Ben Rama, the way he managed people like Pablo Fornals, the way he managed people like Tilo Kira. He cannot get a tune out of people that need a bit of coaching, need a bit of encouragement, and not quite that world class level of player. We ain't going to have these world class level of players if he carries on. They need to show that this current squad, they need to show this current squad that there is a future that is not just being pummeled week in, week out by the likes of Everton and conceding possession and playing boring, uninteresting, unattractive, gung ho, snatch and grab football. Because that's not football. That's not football. That's what you should be doing. We got outplayed by Bristol City twice. Let's be honest. We got outplayed by Bristol City twice. More desire, more possession, more quality. It is worrying that the people at this football club are not willing to see what the future holds. If you just hold it, they made the right appointment in David Moyes. They did. They made a right appointment. They made a few good signings, some really good signings. But you have to move on when your moment is there, and you're the most attractive that you've ever been. If the manager doesn't want to develop or evolve into the style or form what you want to become, you have to cut your tie and give someone else that opportunity at the highest point, rather than waiting for your lowest point, because there is a lot less people going to be interested in taking over in a team that needs picking up again, rather than one that's at the top and just needs, that little nudge on. It's going to be a whole new project for the next manager if we carry on the way we're carrying on. That is that is blatantly obvious. A massive rebuild needs. There are players there now that are so far past their sell-by date, and there are other players that are coming up there. And listen, the lines are fine in football between being able to get through games and not being able to get through games. There's a year in it, and some of them people are approaching that time. We just need a new direction. I think the fans need a boost. I think the fans need something to, to be able to hope for, rather than knowing that they're turning up and listening to the same, watching the same old crap week in, week out. It's a Premier League side that told us, a dream of ambition by moving into this new stadium. They've delivered a trophy, but they should not stop there. It's not, one and done. It shouldn't be. That's not ambition. That's that's breaking a curse. And when you look at the pundits and what do we want? We want what we was promised. That's why we give up our home. That's why we went unopposed. And we also want some value in what we're paying for. Why do we have to? Why do we have to be happy with what we're being served if we're not? If it's not what we want, we are asked to pay more and more money every single year. More, more ticket prices go up every year. Football kit prices go up every year. Travel goes up every year. All of this stuff goes up every single year without fail. Players' wages go up every year. Staff wages go up every year. More and more people want more money. Agents want more money. Football owners want more money. We're the ones that are left with the bill, more or less, because we pick up the pieces. So why is it all right for everyone else to want more? But when it comes to you, who's paying the money to go and watch it, why does it? Why why is it? Why are you entitled for people to tell you? Well, no, no, that's your limit. You know, why do you want more than that? And I do think sometimes that is influenced by the clubs and the mainstream media's relationship with the clubs and the owners. It's listen. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments in the comment section down below. Just a quick one from me today. I'll be back maybe tomorrow, actually, with another one of these. But thank you very much for joining us. I'm feeling left to say.